Good afternoon. It looks like it is 4:59. So this is a sound check and a slate check, a camera check, focus check, and a vocal check to see if 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Greetings and welcome to A Beer with the Old Growler. I'm the old, hey, Dan, live from Brooklyn, New York. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. Well, I'm the Old Growler, and if you've been able to find this play, I see three of you now and a thumbs up. This is fantastic. It's good to see you guys. The Old Growler here is here because since they've closed down my bars, taverns, pubs, and suds buckets, I've got to, I can't get out. And so I'm going to have, oh, Mary, how are you? I've got to get out, and I figure if if I'm going to drink some beers, I might as well drink it with some friends. And so instead of drinking alone, and so if the technology has done this, and here we are. And today is it's Friday the 3rd of April 2020. And I don't let you folks do the math, since this is the 10th edition of the Old Growler. I guess this is 2 weeks old now. So let's not waste any more time. I've got a Brooklyn brewery here. It is called the Keg and Lantern. And they've got themselves, I believe it's a Push Me, Pull Me, and it is a saison, a French farmhouse beer. I'm going to pour that out right there. Oh boy, oh boy. I picked this growler up from, as I've done for the last few days, picked it up, filled it up anyway, at the Henry Street Ale House. Thank goodness they're still open. 5 folks here. Oh boy. Dan, it's thank you very much. Okay, let's see now. What are we going to cheers? We're going to cheers to the fact that we've got a beer, and we're all here to enjoy one. Thanks everybody for showing up. Oh, that's a nice beer. Wow, that's really good. Rebecca, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the Old Growlers. Yes, good to see you. I hope you've got yourself a nice cup of tea or beer. You can have yourself a beer. And here, let's see now. It's I know I've got it on the receipt, and that's how I keep track of most things. Where I was, what time I was there, and what I ate and drank. See, as long as you keep receipts, you know what you're doing. If you don't keep receipts, well, you have a small problem. If memory serves me well, let's see what we've got here. This is a Push Me, Pull Me, but it doesn't have any more of the information on it that I need. But anyways, it is a farmhouse beer. Mary has an orange Powerade. Yeah, I'm sick of water. Yeah, well, that I know. That's what. See, well, put a little heat up the water, and then you put a tea bag in there, and you got yourself a nice cup of tea. Oh, and a little energy. But there's nothing. Oh, look at this. Look at the color of that beer. You kids can see that a lot better than I can, because for some reason this is a dynamite little camera I've got here. It's darker than the inside of a cow in this room right now, and it's outside. It's pretty much over. Oh, that beer with that snuck down the wrong the trachea, the esophagus. Anyway, it's rainy out there. Not too rainy, but it's rainy. And so, anyways, I think I've explained the reasons that we're here. And for some of you maybe who aren't too familiar, I've been covering the beer industry for a good almost 40 years now. And so I've spent a great deal of time in pubs, bars, taverns, watering holes, inside the buckets, and so it's a little bit tough to withdraw from that society, but I get a chance to talk to you folks, and and I get to share a beer. We're up to 7 people in here. Boy, I'm thinking we're breaking a record. Thank you very much for showing up, folks. Let's see if I could come up with a. Oh yes, oh yeah. Since we've got since we've got everybody here, I would really appreciate it if you'd go down there to the. Let's see, it's right down there. There's a subscription button that you can push. A little red, square button there. Push on that, and I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. We're getting a thumbs up. That is fantastic too. And don't forget to share it. Let everybody know that enjoys beer or just conversation. We talk about food. We talk about history. We try very hard not to talk about the elephant in the room or the gorilla in the room or the tangerine in the room or whatever you want to say. Because we're not gonna. We're here in the bar. In the bar, in the Quiet Man, I think it was. He says we don't talk about John Wayne. Oh God, Jesus, Trooper Thorne said, we don't talk about women in bars. That's not what we do. Well, we're not going to talk about politics. We will talk about survival, but not politics. Okay. Being the fact that I haven't been sitting in a bar and I'm not able to sit in the bar, Gamera remembers that movie. But I tell you, we probably have all the lines in that movie memorized. We saw it so many times. Hey, Dave, how's it going? Good to see you. Glad to have everybody aboard. We've got 8 folks in here, and I've only been on for a few minutes. 6:55. They say. Wait a minute. I've been on for 6 minutes and 59 minutes. I'm looking at this the countdown on the clock, and I'm saying, wait a minute, it's not 7 o'clock. No. 7 minutes. That's how long I've been on. So it's great to have another. We've got 8 folks here. Tom, good to see you. Monica. Only saw it for the first time. Oh, the Quiet Man. Oh, that was. I'm glad Monica said she just has just seen it, and so I don't know if she's aware of the story. And I'm going to tell the story. My daughter Mary has seen the movie many times, but. Louis B. Mayer was in charge of the production there. And John Ford, of course, the great director, was told that Louis B. Mayer only wanted a movie to last such amount of time, and that's it. So John Ford had the movie all all done. It was all cut. Everything was finished. It went all the way. It was the director's cut. He was ready to do, so he's going to show it to Louis. So Louis B. Mayer sits down. He's all set to watch the movie. So he's sitting there watching. Oh, it's exciting. You can see that he's really getting into it. And then it gets to the beginning of the fight scene where Thornton goes after Bill Danaher, and he throws that first punch. Boom! He hits him. Danaher. He's wild. Red Bill Danaher hits him right there, and the lights go up. And Mayer's sitting there going, what happened? And Ford said, what? You said the movie could only be so long, and so that's the end of it. Needless to say, the director finally got his cut. But that's a little story about The Quiet Man. And there is the scenes in the pub there are classics. So you get a chance to see the depiction, the Irish-American depiction, and the John Ford depiction of an Irish bar. Which brings me to the topic I'd like to bring up today is what is a good bar? Next week we'll talk about what is a good beer bar, but the idea of what's a good bar, and I'm trying to remember. I'm old enough that it comes back a lot easier. The winters and autumns that I would spend at Norwich University up in Vermont. It's a rural university. Believe me, there's farms around, and we had enough of hills and mountains around us that we actually had our own on-campus ski area up on Dole Mountain, and we had enough room so that we could go play soldier in the woods. on Wednesdays. It was a military university, and so 1969 to 1974, and so the drinking age had changed. And as far as we were concerned, a good bar was a place that would serve us, number one, a place that we could hang out in, number two, and a place where the bartender at least was friendly and put on whatever we wanted to watch on television. And being that it was an all-male school, if there was young ladies present, that made it even better. But anyways, that was fun. The rest of it, we couldn't care if there was no bar stools, or it wasn't. That was it was essentially being together and drinking for effect. That was pretty much what a good bar was. And so when you're 18, 17, 18, 19, that's what a good bar is. At least for at that time in history, for a young white male growing up in America, and lucky enough to be off to a university at that time of history. Funny, I was just thinking that, boy, oh boy, we thought that time of history was traumatic. If only we'd known. Oh no, no. Sometimes you don't want to know. No, that's I wasn't going to bring it up, but and then after a while, a good bar would get into Montpelier, and the Justin Morgan Room, which was right across from the Capitol, and the legislators and lobbyists, etc., would often hang out in there. It was a great little bar. Well, large actually. I take that back. And quite old. So it was slightly intimidating even into young folks like us, and you had to wear a jacket. So that wasn't a problem. And there was some of us there that not myself. I know I I put on my civvies. Some of them would go up there in their uniforms, but that's another story. But that wasn't a good bar. I mean, I didn't feel terribly comfortable in there. It was stylish. It was a step up. It was. I don't remember the food. See, that's so. And it's not that I probably didn't have some. No, I don't think I ever ate there. To me, it was a bar, and not a terribly fun one. However, the Industrial Revolution or Blackie Stones, those were two of the biggies. And again, what made them good bars was both of those had music, live music, and so to have live music at a bar, that was fantastic. And of course, if you knew the bar, the tender, and you knew the people there, and you knew the band. Boy, I'm going to have to do a little research on the keg and lantern there. That's a pretty good piece of work. I hope you all are enjoying your beers. Don't be afraid to leave a comment down there or to let me know if I've wandered too far off. But getting back to the old bars, what was a good bar? You knew the band. That was even better, because then they would play tunes that I remember at the IR, the Industrial Revolution, and boy, oh boy, what a insurance nightmare. Okay, this is on the third floor of a warehouse. The only way to get into this third floor of a warehouse is up the outside open wrought iron stairway. Okay, now imagine this after many beers, 3 stories up and then walking down, just to start with. Now, just keep in mind this is Vermont, and so a couple of months out of the year at least, there's snow and ice and other kind of neat stuff. So it was an insurance nightmare. But upstairs was it was a freaking loft barn type of building. So it was huge, and it was a great band area. And I remember the band there played Neil Young, an awful lot of Neil Young, and Heart of Gold. I always thought that was fun. Sit there and what would we do? Oh boy, we would drink Michelobes. Michelobes is the hot stuff. Michelobes in bottles. Oh, now if if we were particularly um, industrious and the weather was good and we felt like it, we would drive across Vermont. And this would be on a Saturday. We'd drive up, try to drive up into Quebec to pick up some Canadian beer. Now, the rumor was that Canadian beer had more alcohol than American beer because it said like I believe it was 6 or 7% alcohol on there, and so we figured, oh wow, we're going to go up there and get high alcohol beer. Well, it turned out that it actually is their measurement is by weight, not by volume, and so essentially it was the same alcohol. But it was fun to go and get the beers, and even more fun was the fact that it was during the Vietnam War, and so you've had the draft dodgers and guys going back and forth, and the border there was kind of interesting. There would be interesting questions, and I think one of them was to prove that something about they didn't want Americans getting in or something like that, and one of the questions was what's the first and last letters of the alphabet? And of course, the Americans would say A and Z, and if you were Canadian, it was A and Z. So there was no problem getting back and forth if you knew Z. But what we would go over for, I was talking to you the other day, I think, about the wall of beers. Well, this comes from the wall of beers, and this bottle, this stubby little bottle of Canadian beer, Labatt Blue. Is this has to be over 35 years old. I can guarantee you that. And I can remember it was a little bit of a corn flavor to it, and not a bad corn flavor, but it was very refreshing, of course, and very light. And let's see if it does have an alcohol content on this. Labatt Import, Buffalo, New York Brewers, product of Canada. Union made, contents, U.S. fluid ounces. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But it's. I did manage to save the top on this one. And you say, oh, well, there's an anomaly. Not quite, my friends. We have another little fella here, and this goes way back. And I do believe this might have survived my college day. Yes, this one survived my college days. This goes by this bottle has got to be close to 45 freaking years old. I swear, because right on here it says it's done in milliliters and ounces, 341 milliliters, 12 fluid ounces. Brazier du Point, 1828. I can't say that in French right now. Brewers since 1828. Labatt Bière, and it says on here, whoa, 5% alcohol by volume. Okay, it's not by it's by volume, ABV. Okay, way cool. And so a whole bunch of mysteries have been solved on that one. So here's a relic. Yeah, oh yeah, Robert. Yes, Doug and Bob would certainly be proud. They would have handed this down to their grandchildren. Although knowing that I was about to say, knowing that they were Canadians, they probably have great grandchildren, but I'm not going there. And those are the English Canadians, not the French Canadian. French Canadian, they know how to have the big family. Oh, I tell you, go to have the big family. They see the farmhouse up in Quebec. They start the one part and then they make another and another and another as part of the family grow. Yeah, the farm grow too plenty. Okay, well, let's see there. I'm gonna have another sip of the nectar here. Oh, that's a stretch calling it a nectar, but no, that little devil's not bad. I'll tell you, there's a little bit of apple almost in it, which is not a bad thing. That's one of the things that you do find in our friends Anheuser in Budweiser, but that's commercial beer, and this is not a commercial beer. This is a nice little place. I have stopped in to see the fella. I met him, and I know I did a blog I did a blog entry, but that you would have to go to beerbasics.com to the blog itself to try and unearth that one. And the blog is going to be having some work done on it. So, in fact, I believe we're going to be going daily on the blog now. As whoops, all right, let's see what we got here. Healthcare workers. Okay. Attention all healthcare workers. New York City is seeking licensed healthcare workers to support healthcare facilities in need, and it gives a number. So, unfortunately, I'm not a healthcare worker, but if there are any healthcare workers out there watching, or if you know anybody, well, I'm sure the alert has gone out. A little bit of bringing us back into reality, huh? But let's not forget that the cause and cure of all men's problems, according to Homer Simpson, is beer. So, salute to everyone here. I see 8 people here, 5 thumbs up. Boy, oh boy, I tell you, this is a great Friday. Thank you very much. Oh boy, I tell you. Oh boy, looking at this brings me back to the topic of the day of what's a great beer bar? What is a good bar? What is a good bar? And I'm sure that it's a combination of 3, at least 3 things for sure. Woman, and I think the most important are the people you're with. 2 is the staff, the bartender, how their personality. It's essential that their personalities, that they enjoy being bartenders, that it's in their blood. Take a look at some of the tastings that we do on the in the other playlists here. And the bartender that over the last year that we've been visiting at the Henry Street Ale House, Jerry Scott, has got to be one of the best bartenders in New York. You could put him behind a cocktail bar, and he would flourish. You can put him there, and he flourishes. And the people, the bars that he has worked at, all over the borough now, not just not just 1 or 2 neighborhoods, but all over the borough. Pardon me. I would really like to sit down sometime, and well, it would probably take at least a couple of years to interview him to find out, to really get a good story about the beer bars of Brooklyn from the late 1950s through, well, for 50 years. It would be the 50-year history of. That would be fun to do. I'd really enjoy doing that. But that's what you need. Is you need a very attentive bartender. And then finally, it's the ambiance, the atmosphere of the place itself. Now, I've in a number of the blogs and videos that I've done, particularly, I think, and I will have a link above as to finding a good beer bar. And I also think I have one about finding a good bar, because one of the first things that you do, well, one of the first things that I do when I'm in a place that I'm unfamiliar with, and I walk into a bar, you can kind of get a good feel for it. That the atmosphere is pleasant. It's not it is to your vibe, and if the immediate reaction of the people who the waiter, the host or hostess there is friendly, and would you like a seat, whatever, and you get to the bar and bartender's attentive, you order a beer. The first thing I do is I definitely, as even today is even more so, is you hit the lavatory you visit the lavatory to wash your hands. If the lavatory is clean, then you know that the rest of the establishment at least pays attention to some hygiene. If the lavatory is unattended, then I would probably return to the bar, and I would put down a couple of dollars to the bartender to thank him very much, and pay for the beer, and or if I'd ordered a beer, and leave. Um, that's that's happened only that's ha- the reason I'm stumbling over this is because there was a bar in Manhattan many years ago called oh God, was it Chumley's? Yeah, Chumley's, where you would go through a passageway through a courtyard of an apartment building to go into this bar. It was an old speakeasy. And when you used to, and back in the 70s, when you'd go in there, you'd walk through the door. It was very unmarked. You'd have to know where it was. And so you push it open, and you'd see that the bar was right there. But to the right-hand side was the water closet. And it was as obvious of a entrance as it was. You knew that it was the water closet as soon as you opened the door. So that blows my theory semi out of the window. But it was a classic place, and so yeah, it was Chumley's, and it was the place where the term "to be 86th" came from, and that was during Prohibition. And as I say, it was a speakeasy, populated mainly by intellectuals, writers, everybody hates these days. And Prohibition definitely didn't stop people from drinking or thinking, and so they would hang out there. And it's on Bedford Street and Barrow Street, and the exit on, or the entrance on Bedford Street, I believe it is where you go through the little courtyard to get in. Now, the exit on Barrow Street is 86 Barrow Street. And so when the police would call, because it was a courtesy, they would say, tell the folks to 86 it. And so bartender would tell everybody to leave by the 86. Of course, they'd put everything over, cops would show up, and nothing would happen. Bada bing, bada boom. Bad rate. So that's where the term 86 comes from. And you can Google that little mother up. I tell you, I researched it for 2 encyclopedias I did for the Oxford University Press when I was asked to contribute by Andy Smith. And so I'm pretty sure that has been researched. But there you go. That was what it was like. And you know something? I've gotten to there hasn't been I haven't done the tasting yet. So we're going to have to hustle along here. I'm too busy talking. What do we have here? What again? This whole thing started out with my regular before Corona. The tasting, it was meeting expectations at the Henry Street Ale House. I've mentioned Jerry Scott and the Henry Street Ale House, the fact that I get the growler there. And we would get together on Thursdays, and we taste 2 or 3 beers, and maybe a spirit or 2 if it stopped in. And it was all stuff that people had sent me from the breweries and from the distilleries. And we would read the label as if we were regular consumers. And then we would see if it met expectations after we opened it up. Well, this is going to be a repeat of one of those tastings. And I really hope that I have I get I know I can find it. Bench press? Yeah, I know this one. In fact, it's a Pilsner. So, Monica, if Steve is there, this is a Pilsner, which is just about as close to a lager as you can possibly get. And so we're going to take a look at this. We're going to look at the label. see what it says, and see if it meets expectations today. And it'll be interesting to see if the flavor profile and what I taste today is any different from what we tasted together as a group at the Henry Street Ale House. And as I say, I'll put the link up here or down in the information box below. Okay, this says it's got, as you can see, it says bench press, bench press, bench press, and it is LTD 2018. No, it can't be that old. It could be, because I do go up to. This is brewed in Liar's Bench in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and family up there, so we always stop in. But anyways, let's get back to the label. Bench press, bench press, bench press. Can you say that? Is it rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby buggy bumpers? Okay. Bench press, bench press, bench press. Can't do it. Pilsner. 5.2 alcohol by volume, 16 fluid ounces with 18 BUS Pilsner malt, Wahiti, Hertzberger hops. Okay. And it says, when your ears are ringing with the 5 different pitches, when you're drenched in sweat of strangers, that's not today. With the errand elbow busts your nose and your sweat dyed red with blood, when the headliner takes the stage at 11:47 and your alarm is set for 5:30 the next morning, when a 2-hour set is both an eternity and an interlude, when none of it matters, be alive, be committed, drink it loud, drink it proud. So this must be somebody that likes to, I guess I'm an old man. I think it's raves or something like that people go to and get sweaty and jump up and down and throw each other around. But anyways, so it's a Pilsner. What are we expecting? I'm expecting a Pilsner, 5.2%, which means a light, almost a straw-colored beer. 5.2% by volume. That's not extraordinary. The 18 bittering units. That's kind of weird. That's a little low, but we'll find out. Okay. That's what I'm looking for, is a light flavored beer. We'll see what kind of interesting aspect it might have, or that I might find, compared to the last time I tried it. Might as well call away. Wouldn't want to stop now. Okay, what do we got? Oh, gee, okay. Oh boy, we got a New England a New England style ale. It's, in other words, it's cloudy, just like today, kind of cloudy. Yeah, my thoughts are cloudy. Okay, this is a wine glass. I apologize for that, but it does still show ahead, so we'll stay ahead. Boy, there's an interesting an aroma. He said the trouble is the first time you go in, your nose goes, oh, I know what that is. Oh, that's exciting. And the second time you go in, the nose goes, yeah, what was that? And the third time, it's, come on, give me a break. Nevertheless, there is an interesting flowery type of, like going into a florist shop. So it's definitely got some hops in there, which is not what I'm expecting. Now here we go with the flavor. I'm expecting a very light beer. I've got a light beer, all right, but boy, oh boy. It's got it's not, I wouldn't say astringent, but it has a very dry finish to it, which I would not expect for a Pilsner. Not with this type of finish. I mean, this is like a trap door. Kind of, it falls away. Wow. Well, let's keep on going. Okay, there is a sweetness to this. I can imagine. I can. Yeah. There's more sweet than there is bitter. So I guess in the end, it does meet, except for the haze. That the haze blows me out the door right there. I'm sorry, you lose 2 out of 5 points on that one because I was expecting when it says a pilsner, I was expecting a clear beer. So, but that's being a very picky person. Okay, well, did it meet expectations? No. Is it a bad? Am I? Do I appreciate it? Yes. If it had been called something else, would I appreciate it even more? Yes. Similar to going into a bar. If you go into a bar expecting a sports bar, and all of a sudden it's draped in fern and crinoline, and it looks like a French whorehouse, you're confused, Sergeant Carter. But if you go into a place that's open and you can see immediately go in that this is semi-modern and the whole business, that's exactly what you expect. No problems. So, but this one, no, I'm sorry. It's not what I expected. And it'll be interesting to see if it agrees. Oh, that was good. If it agrees with the review. Grant me executive clemency, because if you pardon me, that means I actually did it. Thank you very much. I'll be appearing here every day, 5 o'clock, for the next. What the hell? Why don't we go to the end of the month? Come on, kids. If you can put up with me, I can put up with you. And we hit as many as 9 people today visiting. I want to thank all of you who have, and for the thumbs up. That's even better. And if you would be so bold as to please subscribe, there's a subscribe button down there, a red kind of a square type of thing there. If you would hit that one, I would really super appreciate it. The thumbs up, and have your friends come and visit as well, because I tell you, I really this is possibly I could be drinking alone. But it's a lot of fun having you all with me. And once again, I'm going to bring up my alma mater, Norwich University in Northfield, Vermont, the oldest private military university in the United States, is also one of our alumni, our noted alumni, is the fellow who founded AA. So, I mean, everything goes around, comes around, I guess. And I'm going to, bringing up the vision of AA at the end of a beer drinking session in a bar. Well, I guess that's probably the least I can do. Okay. Listen, thanks everybody so much for being here. Thanks to Dan, thanks to Mary, Monica, Rebecca, great to see you. Dave, Tom, in particular, it was great. If you're still here with me, Robert, fantastic, good to see you. And anybody else who wants to have me to talk about something, or to get a particular beer, or maybe bring up a subject, please put it down in the comments. I'd be glad to hear from you. Or if you want to be more personal, send me an email at peter.lafrance@beerbasics.com, and I'd be glad to get back in touch, or to get in touch about anything that has to do with beer, food, or the wonders of life. And I'd be really happy to do that. Okay, folks, I'm going to take off for the next 2 days. I'm not going to take off anything. I won't be here for Saturday and Sunday, the 4th and the 5th, but the 6th I will be here. And if there's some beer geeks amongst you, I've got some Thomas Hardy's ale that needs to be opened. So if you guys could convince me, so make a little note down there, convince me that you want to see it get opened. And some of these are 20 years old. So give me a chance on that. Okay. I hope to see you guys on Monday the 6th. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Oh, there we go.